So, let me explain to you why saying that we have to take responsibility for our actions and for our lives is not the same as to say that you are to blame for things, or that you should be ashamed of things, or that you are at fault in any way. It doesn't work like that. So maybe at the beginning of our lives, our parents blame us for things and they point out where we are at fault, and we learn to kind of feel sorry for when we do something wrong. And the same might happen in our religion, and we have to repent and we have to, express our regret about things. But that is a different thing. So in that way we might learn to feel ashamed of ourselves, or we might learn to think of ourselves as not being very good people. And we might become afraid of other people making us feel like it's our fault when something goes wrong. So we can get stuck in that idea. We can get very scared about always putting our foot wrong, and we can become very defensive about it, immediately saying, but it was not my fault, or it isn't me. And in some ways that is an important thing to be able to do, to be able to recognize when something is not your fault. It is just about the circumstances, or it is about something having gone wrong. It is about fate. It is about randomness. But again, that is not what I'm talking about. There comes a point in all of our lives when we start to think for ourselves, and we start to be able to look around and look inside of ourselves too, and reflect on what we do. And at that point, we become capable of seeing that we are part of what happens in the world, and that we play an active part in the things that happen. Sometimes we bring things about, and that doesn't mean we are at fault. It means that we've had an impact on the world, and that means, our presence in the world is felt, and that is usually a good thing, especially if we are trying to live well and be good people. But what we also start to realize when we start to observe these things is that much of the time the things we do, and particularly the way in which we respond to circumstances, or we respond to other people, or we respond to things that are going wrong in our lives even, the way we respond to those things gives us a margin of freedom. So we can either react to those things and get angry or upset, or, as I said, be defensive about it and say it's nothing to do with me, it's not my fault. Or we learn that we can actually affect the way things move on from there. And that is what I call responsibility. It is the ability to be reflective about the way we respond. We don't have to respond in the same way, and we don't have to respond in a defensive manner. We don't have to say, it's not my fault. We can say, what happened because of this, that and the other, and see how everything is related and how it works together, and then work out how we can have an effect of improving what will happen next. So it is not about taking all the responsibility. It is not about carrying the world on our shoulders and becoming like Atlas with the feeling that it all weighs on us and we are always at fault, or we are always the ones who have to make things all right again. No, it is about simply understanding that we have the capacity for understanding what has happened, and therefore we also have the capacity to interact with what will happen next and affect a change in that, a change for the better. So the more we take charge, the more we become response-able, the more we become reflective about the circumstances of our life and the things that happen to us and the way other people treat us, the more we become capable of loosening things up, undoing forced reactions, and actually changing things for the better. So that ability to respond, that kind of responsibility, is what we should all seek to hone for ourselves and get better at doing, because we're less at the mercy of circumstances, less at the mercy of other people, and much more joyous in our lives, because we know that we don't have to react. We can reflect and we can respond responsibly. Take care. I hope it helps.